Today, I will tell you the real story about why I started this channel. This is not fiction. This is a real story of real people who struggled with the difficult things in life and the true battle against time and nature itself. After 2 years together, me and my husband decided we were ready to start a family. Our daughter was our biggest blessing yet, but it took us a while to conceive her. After 6 months of trying, we began having some questions and fears. So we made an appointment with a fertility doctor. He asked us to do some tests. I did some blood work and ultrasounds, and my husband tested his sperm. Everything came back normal, so we just waited a little bit more. A few months later, with no success yet, I went to my ear gynecology checkup. The doctor saw that I was about to ovulate and even took a scan of the egg that I was about to drop. Far was I to know that that precise egg would give me Lara after 10 months of trying. Since we were already pregnant, we stopped the testing to find out why it had took us so long to conceive. I already talked about this on the vlog where I explained why I quit my job, but after Lara was born, I was overwhelmed and astonished by the little time I had to spend with her. Life was struggling, me and my husband. I was away from home more than 11 hours a day. My husband was the one who took Lara to daycare. Otherwise, if it was me, she would get there really early. He was the one who picked her up 6:15. When I got home, it was already past 7 p.m. and my husband was juggling a craving for attention Lara while cooking dinner. I only had 1 hour and a half until her bedtime, and that time included dinner time, bath time, and getting her ready for bed. There was almost no time to play. I could never get off work to be at her activities and parties on daycare. And when she was sick, which was a lot, most of the time I couldn't be with her. I heard her cry while getting out of home every day of her sickness. If I took a sick leave to be with her, I would be criticized at work. I truly felt that I was not a parent at all. And I truly started to hate my job. When Lara was 2, we decided to have another baby. So I started prepping, taking prenatal vitamins, and doing normal checkups to see if my body was healthy. 3 months later, I got a positive pregnancy test. I was so excited. We booked an ultrasound for 2 weeks after we found out. But we never got to do it. A week and a half later, the test lines began to fade away, and I started to bleed. Baby was gone. Resiliently, I started to mourn the baby in what I thought it was the proper way, and we kept on trying, and trying, and trying, hoping that one day would be the day. On June of 22, it was our wedding. On the beginning of the month, I went to the annual checkup and the doctor told me I was pregnant. We were very excited, but we kept it a secret. On the photo shoot of the wedding, we even had photos embracing the belly. Soon to be a dream come true. I was on my honeymoon when I miscarried again. We were started to feel defeated. We would easily get pregnant, but we couldn't get to the 7th week of pregnancy without miscarrying. I was already planning to create a YouTube channel to record my new journey of motherhood. But how could I do that with no baby? Eventually, I just decided to start the channel either way, as I needed something to distract myself. And that's how Life Happens with Nina was born. We started seeing doctors again, public and private system. We did a lot of testing. It was only until we tested my AMH that we knew what the problem was. I was running out of eggs, and the quality of the ones I still had was decreasing. It was not impossible for me to have a baby on my own, but it was incredibly hard to happen. It just felt like my world was falling apart. I was just 35 years old. How was that possible? And even so, how was that happening to me? The person that thought that I was meant to be a mother. The person who dreamt to be a mother since she can remember existing. How was that possible? How was that fair? By then, I was really depressed. I wanted to spend every little time I had with my daughter, just to live and to breathe every little moment, every second. I was so scared and aware of how dangerous it was to take things for granted. I was scared. I was anxious. I was depressed. And I hated my job even more. I felt like I was in a live or die situation. I wanted more time with my daughter and my family. Work just seemed to be irrelevant when compared to spending time with them. I desperately needed to feel some kind of hope. Since Lara was getting older, all the uncomfortable questions began. So when are you going to start thinking about baby number 2? Or, Lara is almost 2. It's really good to have a small gap between kids. You said you wanted more than 1 kid. Where are the other ones? I am pregnant. Are you next? There is never the perfect time, you know. The questions went on and on and on. Of course, none of these comments or questions were malicious, but they felt like a dagger in my heart. They just made me feel broken and worthless. If you are watching this video, please think twice before utter such questions to anyone. Infertility is invisible, and you never know what kind of fights people are going through. Even for the few people that knew, or some doctors that I went, hearing the phrase, "If you stop stressing, you will get pregnant faster," was the most dismissive, absurd, and disrespectful thing I ever heard. Stress is not the cause of infertility. It's because of your infertility. And even though you feel guilty, infertility is not your fault. It's genetic. You are already born with all of the eggs you will have for the rest of your life. One of the hardest parts about this journey and loss is you feel like nobody truly comprehends the depth of your pain. You feel guilty when you are jealous of your friends when they get pregnant. And maybe you even hurt them a little bit when you don't react full of joy and excitement when you hear that special news. They will not understand why you couldn't make it to the baby shower. They can even think that you are not as good as a friend as they thought. They will not realize that you will not go because you are embarrassed to feel jealous, and you are broken enough not to be able to be present for such a joyful occasion. It's incredibly hard when your heart aches for something that your body just cannot make come true. When your heart prepares for a child that never seems to come. while you are going through probably the biggest and the hardest battle you will ever face. Life goes on. The days pass, life goes as usual around you, and you try to appear normal to everyone, because no one knows. You still have to appear focused at work, happy at birthdays, and fun in family activities, because in addition to infertility being invisible, infertility is also silent. And you begin to feel more and more lonely, hidden in your own secret pain. By now, all of the people that I followed on YouTube were getting pregnant. First Kayla Buell, then Delilah Loebke, Health Nut Nutrition, and then the Cottage Fairy. I felt like everybody in the universe was pregnant, except empty me. We continued to search for a solution for my AMH problem. We wanted more kids, and as a woman, I felt like I was failing. As a wife, I felt like I was a disappointment in that area. I just felt so low and insignificant. My husband was very supportive during that time, reassuring me that we would get through this together. We talked a lot about the subject, the options that we had. I opened up about what I was feeling regarding my job and how this journey made me realize that family was what I wanted to focus on. And after a few conversations, we decided that if I quit my job, our life would be much easier and happier. Lara would only be at preschool part-time. I would take care of everything in the house, and my husband would only have to worry about working his working schedule. After that, we would have time to be together as a family of 3. After a while, we also found out a solution to have a baby, and the solution was modern medicine. Instead of trusting in luck and spend possibly years trying to conceive naturally with no success whatsoever, we could select our best parts and do an in vitro or an ICSI. On the public system, this took forever. I was not getting any younger, and after 40, they reject you like an old maid. So we went private. We consulted 4 or 5 different clinics, all of them with different values for the treatment. The goal was to find the one that combined a good price with an attentive and empathic doctor. And we found that last year. Do not believe if somebody tells you that if it doesn't happen, maybe it's not meant to be. Infertility does not mean you are not meant to be or worthy enough to be a mother. It just means that it will be more challenging. Maybe it's a journey that will take you 2 years, 5, or even more. Maybe it's a journey that will include an adoption or an egg or sperm donation. Sometimes you may feel like the unluckiest person in the whole world, or the saddest person on the universe. You may feel like you are being punished for something, that you are not good enough, that you're broken. Maybe you will lose your sense of self momentarily and your self-esteem. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I am telling you it's going to be worth it.